What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out the channel. Tobin here with you. If you guys haven't subscribed to the WQAM YouTube page, Tobin and Leroy, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. live. You guys can also watch the clips on demand, all the silly sauce that we got into. Man, we got into it today over Goron. Whew. That was Leroy was not happy with me. Either way, check it out, guys. We have a silly time every single day. Looking forward to going boots on the ground. I'm here at the Miami studios going boots on the ground to the arena tonight. Looking forward to being out there. This was interesting. Anthony Chang did an interview with PJ Tucker while he was in Philadelphia. And PJ made it known to Anthony that he wanted to retire in Miami, that he wanted to finish his career here after his one season with the Heat. And this is what he had to say. PJ told Anthony in his Philadelphia locker room, "I thought that I was going to retire in Miami. I think that they wanted negotiations to be a little slower than it was just because of the interest right off the bat. Nobody thought that I was going to get 3 years, and then I got multiple offers for 3 years, and I was ready to move and figure it out." According to Anthony's report, we know PJ ended up signing a full boat 3-year, $33 million deal with the Sixers, and the Heat, apparently the highest that they went is 3 years, $26.5 million, which was their non-Bird exception, which would have basically hard capped the Heat, would have made deals a little bit tougher. And we all know that they were still pursuing Kevin Durant at the time, maybe Donovan Mitchell. This would have made a lot of their moves harder. In hindsight, doesn't really feel like it hurt the Heat. It really didn't affect the Heat too much because, it didn't end up really being a thing where they ended up making that move. He said, quote, "Honestly, I didn't want to leave. I expressed that I didn't want to leave, but their situation and them not want to be hard capped. I knew it was going to be a possibility. My family is still there in Miami. So obviously I wanted to be there, but it didn't work out." He said that I wanted the full mid-level. I thought that I deserved the full mid-level, and that was something that I wanted. They knew that coming out of the gate. I expressed that I wanted that from the beginning, and I feel like what we did, what we had, I deserved it, and that just is what it is. I don't fault them. I understand that they didn't want to be hard capped and wanted to make moves later, but whatever they thought they may need. So PJ wanted the full mid-level, even though it's not like, you look at it and you're like, we could play the game of, 33 million, 26, 27 million. That's like what, is that a couple mil a year, but, taxes, all that type of stuff. Was it really worth it? But this was really a case with PJ Tucker of respect. It was the same thing that kind of happened with the Bobby Portis thing with him leaving Milwaukee. PJ Tucker came to Miami on a 1-and-1 and ended up wanting to, get that respectful deal. The only thing that makes it a little bit weird and the only thing that makes it a little bit interesting is this is the return to Miami for PJ Tucker. I don't expect PJ Tucker to get like a montage or anything like that. Like, he was only here a season. They didn't win a championship, but he was really good for the Heat. He was beloved by Jimmy Butler. He was beloved by Pat Riley. He was beloved by everybody in that locker room, I think, of how hard he competed. He really, he would stay after practices, getting young guys going. I loved getting to cover PJ Tucker last year. PJ's a real one. Like, he seemed like he did fit Heat culture, all that type of stuff that everybody looks for. He embodies all of that. And so for him to go to the Sixers, to be with James Harden and Daryl Morey, that whole Rockets reunion alongside, being the four next to Joel Embiid, and we know what a dynamic defender he can be. Yeah, definitely. I think it to a level did hurt Miami. We've seen that this year, that they tried to put Caleb Martin in that role and be in a situation where he could be that power forward next to Bam, which is a huge ask of a guy who's a little bit more slender and 6'5" and more of an igniter and a backup wing defender. And PJ Tucker is just kind of an anomaly because of how stout he is and his ability to guard bigs, guard anybody. But from Miami's end, I do understand from Miami's end, like, being concerned that he was going to be 40 at the end of the deal. Now, this doesn't seem like it was a year's thing. It was a case of, did you want PJ Tucker to be your only move, or would you have liked Miami to have the opportunity to take swings? I mean, look, we're sitting here in hindsightville, and they didn't make any swings. They didn't make any moves. So really, would the Miami Heat have been better off giving PJ Tucker his deal? I think they probably, I think in some ways they would have been. I mean, look, you're looking at Jay Crowder, already seems like he's fitting in pretty well with the Milwaukee Bucks, and this is what kind of burned him on the last, run it back season, run it back and lose a power forward. That's kind of that was the Heat's model their last two deep playoff runs. The only thing that is a little bit dicey with this PJ Tucker thing, and I don't know what to completely buy, is he did say back in September and said that he and James Harden were trying to get to Philadelphia last year. So they were trying to get to Philadelphia for a while. That was the move. They wanted to reunite with Daryl Morey. So I don't really know what to believe, PJ. Like, did you want to be here and retire with the Miami Heat, or did you always want to get in Philadelphia with James Harden? Which one is it?
That is silly. That's pretty silly.
I'm a little confused. Excuse me if I'm a little confused on to which one it is. Although it is weird that these James Harden Houston rumors do continue to seem to pop up. So, do with that what you will, PJ. But it was, I can't, it's hard to say anything negative about PJ Tucker because you're at the end of your career. You're obviously going to want to make the most money possible. It sucks being away from your family. And you probably look at what Miami did and be like, well, what moves did you make? Like, what was it really worth it? Like, because you had a little extra scratch here, and I could have, that maybe the final piece could have just been there immediately. There wouldn't have been so many headaches. The one thing I would say about PJ, also about his gas tank, I think that is the thing that would have been interesting, is that PJ, you love everything that he embodies, but also hates taking games off. And he talked about this at one point last year, probably in, I don't know, March, about like he had like a couple of days where he missed. And then he's like, yeah, freshest I've felt since December. I haven't really felt right since December, because he doesn't like taking time off. So, his decision, I get it. You want to, it was just a matter of finally getting that respect of people giving you the most money on an exception that you were willing to, after you didn't get it from winning a championship with Milwaukee. You didn't get it necessarily from Miami, even if they were willing to give you the years. They weren't willing to give you those max dollars. A principal thing for him. He said on the team last year that he was praising their chemistry. He says, we had a lot of adversity throughout the year, and still to finish with the number one in the East is kind of crazy for me, for all the games that Jimmy missed and Bam Adebayo breaking his hand and Kyle Lowry being out with personal stuff. We were still able to win games consistently all year, and it was fun. It was one of those experiences that I'll remember. And PJ got to do a lot of stuff when Bam was out, as far as like being that ball handler in the, as a big for Miami, getting more opportunities to score, instead of just standing in the corner. We, had that shot put floater that he would put forth. I'm trying to think. Look, PJ right now in his season with Philadelphia, because last year he was averaging like a lot more than he had in a lot of previous stops. PJ was averaging, not to like say he's going to be the next Kareem, but he was averaging nearly 8 points a game last year. And you look this year, PJ's averaging under 4 points a year, under 4 points a game, 4 and 4 basically. Definitely a guy I really respect, PJ Tucker, and miss the fact that he is on the Miami Heat. Should this year have been as hard just losing him? I think so, just based on them not adding really anything to the fold. Like, Dwayne Dedmon got worse. The bench has been a lot worse. Kyle Lowry has been worse. Your three guy, Jimmy's been steady as a rock. Bam's gotten a little better. Tyler at one point was better. Maybe has kind of evened out a little bit from last year. He's starting. He's not on the bench anymore. Caleb Martin, his statistics are better than PJ's this year, but you can just tell it's not quite the role that he should be in. And we know that the shooting has plummeted this year, and PJ was definitely a part of that team that was a really, really good shooting team last year. So, yeah, I think that losing him hurt because they didn't really use that flexibility for anything. They basically stayed status quo up until this buyout maneuver with getting Kevin Love and bringing in Cody Zeller and possibly Goran Dragic. Am I right? Nah, probably not. But either way, still love the way that he played. I enjoyed covering PJ Tucker. I love what he brought to the team. Jimmy obviously loved him. The organization loved him. But unfortunately, you're going to have to gentleman sweep his ass when it comes to the playoffs.